Welcome everybody to the latest Amber Army Vidcast. I'm here with Ollie and Kian, and today we're going to be discussing the latest transfer activity at Newport County. No doubt at some point we're going to mention Wales qualification for the World Cup, but we're going to pretty much start off with the recent transfer activity. 5 new players through the door. There's obviously one main guy that's left the club. With 2 more outstanding contracts we're waiting for, that being Telford and Kev Ellison, obviously as a coach, Kev Ellison. And then we'll get into basically where we think Rowberry's going next in the window and what potential formations / tactics we're going to look forward to potentially based on the signings that we've made so far. So, gentlemen, thanks very, very much for joining us today. These vidcasts are getting some, how can I put it, some activity on our YouTube channel. So thank you all for being part of it. And I'm going to do this at the very beginning instead of at the very end. We want comments from you all to give us pointers to discuss next time. So feel free to drop anything in the comments of anything you'd like us to discuss. Obviously, pre-season. Things are going to get busier later in this month, obviously, with the pre-season training due to kick off in a few weeks' time. And obviously, our pre-season schedule is now out. So that's something else I suppose we're going to touch on later in the video. But let's start with Ollie, if you can give us the bio that you've got there on the first signing that we made.
So first one is Sam Bowen, the worst kept secret in probably Newport County history. 21-year-old who plays through the midfield, so can be attacking or defensive. Kind of taps into what Rowberry likes in a player is versatility. So always helpful. Knows the club. His dad played for us way back when, probably when he was in school. Taff wasn't. He has played at senior level, 7 games for Barry Town in the Welsh Prem. He's played 20 games for Wales under-19 and 4 games for Wales under-21. Looks quite promising. Lots of Cardiff fans rate him quite highly. Obviously, Rowberry's going to know him from his time at Cardiff. So I'm excited to see what he brings.
Over to you, mate.
Yeah, I agree with what Ollie said, to be honest. I think it was a good way to start off our transfer campaign. I actually got told today, I think he fell out with the manager at Cardiff. So we got that authoritative, he's obviously got an authoritative stance, so if he wants to speak up for the team, he can.
Absolutely. So I think it sounds promising for me because the quality of youngsters coming through Cardiff has been rather high of late. And I think if he's a product of that and Rowberry, who's worked with them, rates him, then there's obviously something about them. Now, I've heard that it's basically a deal where we've taken him for free from Cardiff, but there's a stipulation within the contract that Cardiff can buy him back for a particular amount of money if he comes good for us, and they'd like to have him back. Now, I don't know if there's any truth in that, but if that is the case, that excites me for a big reason, that Cardiff still think something of him if they want to exercise an option of potentially having him back in the future.
Well, yeah, I think if that's true, then the rumour I've heard is false. But I say that's football again.
There's 2 conflicting rumours. Either one or none of them are going to be true anyway. So
it's it's a big one, isn't it? And it's a brilliant way to start our transfer campaign, as I said. And to have a player who's in 4 games scored a big goal at Championship to keep the side up, I think I think he's a really big and good signing. And he's one of the players, except from the Morecambe lad,
Aaron Wildig.
Aaron Wildig, that's it. That's got experience, and I like the balance. We've got 3 youth and 2 experienced players, and I think that's perfect for us. We need a bit of youth, and we need a bit of experience, a bit like Mickey Demetria.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sam Bowen, then, how would you rate that 1 out of 10? I got asked that in a Snapchat group last night. I rated him a 9.
10. Big 10.
Quality signing. I mean, as far as being a good player for us, that's yet to be seen until he plays. But on paper, it sounds like a very, very good signing. So midfield is the area in which I thought that we left it most light after the loan players went back. So, I mean, we'll go through who we've got at the end, at the end of talking about who we brought in. But, I'm glad that we've made those signings in that key area. But the second player now, Ollie.
Second player is Will Evans, 25 on the 1st of July. He's a left winger who can also play as an attacking midfielder. He's signed from Barla Town. He's just featured in the Welsh Premier League Team of the Season. He scored 24 goals in 64 games, and he even scored 2 goals for the Welsh C team against the England C team, which is basically the best English non-league players. So, seems promising. I don't see where he plays because we've never played with wingers. I don't think Rugby intends on playing with wingers. So maybe he falls into the attacking mid role. But again, following on from Bowen, very promising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he also sounds promising. And to have that youth spark who's been given a professional go and in a professional level, and it's a big jump. From the sounds, I think he can make that big jump. And I remember, until he said it, I didn't realise it was him. I remember looking at that Wales C and English C, and that was him. Yeah, he was quality, very energetic, and because sometimes that's what we need. We need someone like Taff, and I know you'll definitely remember Alex Samuel. I remember the first game I went to was a 4-0 loss, and he was running up and down the pitch like we were 0-0 in the last minute. And him, like Livermore as well, I think we need an extra one of them. And brilliant. Really happy with that.
Yeah, Will Evans for me. If Rowbury is looking at wingers, then we're basically potentially looking at a 4-3-3 next season, which will come on to the formations later. But as you said, he could play attacking midfielder. So is Will Evans going to be our Finn Azaz void filler? Now, a lot of people have made noise about, why are we picking players up from the Welsh League? Well, picking up players from the Welsh League, if they're good enough. I mean, if our scouts are watching them, so Mr. Kelly has watched him, and he believes that his ability is good enough to play League Two football, then why not? At the end of the day, if you look at the Welsh League and the quality of players it can bring out, I'll give you one player in particular, and I can always remember this. Christian Doige came on trial at Newport County after he scored a hatful of goals for Carmarthen Town. Came on trial at County, and Justin Edinburgh didn't fancy him. He then went and signed for Dagenham and Redbridge, and the rest is history, as you know.
People who are saying that, why are we looking at the Welsh leagues? Look at James Waite.
James Waite's come from the Welsh League, and I know he wasn't there for that long. But the fact is, there is quality in that league if you pick it up.
Well, we was all on our knees, on our feet, jumping up and down. When he scored that goal on Bristol Rovers, and there's a lot of. I'm going to say it's a lot of wasted talent in the Welsh League. I've been to my friend to watch Taff in Cardiff, and got a quality of players there. If you was a scout, you pick a couple of them out to come and have a pre-season at County, and it's so much wasted talent there. It's unbelievable, and we're very lucky as a country to be able to go out to these games and see some future stars. Yeah,
of course. I mean, plenty of good players have come through the Welsh leagues. I mean, I've got them in my head. I had a few of them. I mean, I know one of them, Chiselwitz. I think that's how you pronounce his name anyway. Was playing for Wrexham the one season. I think this for 2 seasons, and I thought, bloody hell, he's a hell of a player. He is. He didn't ever go any further than Wrexham. I never understand why, because he was a quality player. Obviously, Priestley came from the Welsh League, and there's talk of West Bromwich Albion being interested in him.
I think Flinney gave him a fair shot, but we've not seen much of Farquharson recently, don't we? We see him in a. Pardon?
He spent the rest of last season injured.
Yeah. I know, and we always saw him in a a full green tracksuit, then we walking around the pitch. And yeah, it's not him not being given a chance, but one big injury like that at a club, I don't think we can afford to have these injured players like Senior. We were all ready for Senior, brilliant pace and things. Injured. And no, Farquharson, I was always a fan of Farquharson. Definitely brave. Attackers were scared of him. You could see.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if I'm in a head-on-head collision with him, he's winning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not coming off well there, are you?
No.
So Will Evans then. So I rated the signing an 8 because I think it's not a. I don't think there's any particular lose situations with that. You take a chance on a player from the Welsh League. Then if he doesn't work out, we can't be paying him an awful lot of money to come from the Welsh League, be on a semi-pro contract onto a pro contract. He wouldn't have demanded a lot of money. So I don't think it's going to be an expensive mistake to make. But
I think for him, obviously, you look at players who've been at the club for years, they'll ask for a bit of extra money. But if you're a kid who's playing semi-professional football and you get that chance to play professional football, money really doesn't come into the situation, does it?
Of course not.
They want people with their name on the shirts at the back, and they want the applause, and they want to go to the corner flag and celebrate.
We'd have needed to offer him something competitive because apparently there was a number of Football League clubs that wanted him. So we got to have impressed to a certain level for that many Football League clubs to be interested in him. Apparently there was a hatful of them. Don't know exactly who, but apparently we beat off a lot of interest. That's what I've been told. So Will Evans, I'm calling it an 8 out of 10.
Does that mean Roby's got away with words, do you reckon?
Possibly.
Yeah.
There's certainly a sense of charm about the man, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what do you got rating the signing out of 10?
I'd give him an 8 as well.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to be a bit of worry that he doesn't make the step over from the Welsh Prem to League 2, but it's not out of the possibilities. On paper, it looks good. I can't see us paying him extortionate amounts of wages, and the lad's clearly got talent, so I don't see there being any risk in it either.
Not an awful lot of risk, is there? And at the end of the day, I mean, by the way, these ratings are not. Again, I'll make a point. We're not rating the player because we haven't seen them yet. We're rating the
profile.
Put it. So the quality of the signing wouldn't be the best way of putting it either. Just the deal itself, the deal that we've made to bring that player in. I'm giving it an 8.
Yeah.
We'll rate you, Kian. We'll wrap up Will Evans with your rating.
I really don't know. I think after finding out what he's done and how he's chosen Newport, I think I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna beat you both. I'm gonna hit that 9 mark. 9.
The thing is, there's nothing wrong with putting a question mark on this because a quality of a signing. I mean, obviously we're talking about the actual signing itself, the deal, not the player's ability. But if you wanted to put the question mark against it because you want to learn more about the player before you rate it, there's nothing wrong with that. So then, we just had some technical difficulties and we lost Kian. So me and Ollie are gonna press on, carry on from where we picked up. Kian's gonna try and get back in and rejoin us later in the video. So where were we? So we just wrapped up the Will Evans signing, and we were just about to talk about signing number 3. If you want to give the bio on this one.
Signing number 3 was Chanka Zimba. I think we've got to give him 10 out of 10 rating for the name alone. He's a 20-year-old striker on loan from Cardiff. He's been on loan at Northampton, played 278 minutes, grabbing 1 goal. I believe he had a hamstring injury, so he's missed a lot of the time. Seems similar to Courtney Baker-Richardson, where he's got potential if you can manage the injuries. To be brought in this early in the window, Rowbury must have an overwhelming amount of faith in him as a player and his ability. So Robury clearly knows he can be a competent striker, but we're yet to see it actually in performance.
Yeah, of course. So me personally, I'm happy with the signing for the fact that he was part of the squad that got nearly got Northampton promoted. They should have got promoted, basically. Then we're not going to go into that Rovers miracle, but I mean, he was, even though he spent half the season on loan at Northampton, he was still Cardiff under 23's top scorer for the season.
Yeah.
So definitely goals in him. There's definitely ability to play in League Two in him for him to play, a good amount of games for Northampton. So yeah, I'm happy with that signing.
Yeah, I mean, trying to fit that into a chance is going to be a nice challenge, but I'm sure we'll create something. Have to get John Morgan on that one.
Yeah.
So the fourth signing was Aaron Wildig, 30-year-old centre mid who's just left Morecambe after 7 years. He obviously got promoted, and I know you've got a bit of a grudge about that. But he did play 1,393 minutes of League One football last season. I'll hand it over to you and let you get your little rant in.
Hey, look, I mean, at least he's, in our 10 spitting out this time. You know, that's the one thing. As far as I'm concerned, if he's a Newport County player, then any history with Morecambe will be grudgingly forgotten about. I say grudgingly because, that there, for me, was one of the lowest points of being a Newport County fan that I've had. That day was probably it was one of the worst days, football-related days I've had. I felt really low afterwards because I know that our lads deserved to win that game, and Wildig was part of that team and celebrated in front of us. So yeah, there should be a bit of bad blood there, but there's no point allowing that to, get in the way of him playing for us. Like I said, he'll be in the tent spitting out this time, a bit like Kevin Ellison. So Kevin Ellison made himself a bit of a hero at Newport County after being such a villain, and I'm tipping Wildig to do the same. I think he's a quality midfielder. He's definitely a quality League Two midfielder, and Morecambe have always punched above their weight, massively so, getting promoted the way they did. And Wildig has been in the heart of their midfield the whole time that they've done that. So we've been known as a team that've been punching above our weight, and we know his quality because we've seen him. Most seasons that we've been in the Football League. So yeah, I'm delighted with the signing personally.
What rating would you give her out of 10?
I'm giving that one a 9. If it wasn't Morgan that he joined from, I would have given him a 10.
Depending on the length of the contract, if it's a 1-year contract, I'll give it a 9. If it's a 2-year contract, I'll give it a 10. I feel like he's definitely got at least another 3 years of very high quality League Two football in him. Mm-hmm. It's seen as a bit of a coup, to be honest, for County to get a player of that quality. It's a very proactive signing. It's very interesting how we've approached this window and how we've kind of gone on the offensive a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Final signing then was made this morning. 22-year-old Declan Drysdale, centre-back who can also play as a defensive midfielder, who's just been released by Coventry. I didn't know this until just about an hour ago. He's 6'5", so he's going to be able to deal with all the long balls.
So what I saw, mate. What I saw, because you mentioned that he'd been released by Coventry, what I saw is that we've signed him for an undisclosed fee, I believe. It was an undisclosed deal with Coventry.
Yeah, it mentioned an undisclosed deal. I've heard that we've not actually paid a transfer fee for him. All we've paid is a sell-on fee, which has been distributed to previous clubs. So we've picked him up for practically pennies, if the rumour is true.
No, I'm happy enough for that because if there was an area that we needed a bit of extra meat in, it would have been the defence from last season. Even though we got some really good defenders, obviously, Mickey, Matty, Clark. I mean, I know Farquharson has been injured. Pask was, for me, I think he did well. I think he's been harshly criticised, during his time. The word is we wanted. Sorry. Oh God, it's medication that I'm on. It makes me yawn. So Pask. Apparently, we were meant to be signing Pask, but we got Drysdale. But it sounds like that's an upgrade on Pask.
I think Pask would have been an excellent signing if he didn't have the injury record that he did. I think that's the only thing that holds him back from being a quality League One Championship player. But Drysdale does seem like an absolute steal. He helped Cambridge get promoted in 2019-20, played 1,000 minutes. Very physical, very good player. And at the age he's at, 22, there's definitely sell-on value there if we do keep him long-term.
100%, mate. Yeah, definitely. And that's an important thing for us to look for. Because if you're looking at fan-owned clubs who are doing things in the right way, Exeter have got to be, who we have to sort of emulate.
Yeah.
Concentrating on youth and bringing in good quality players while they're young with the sell-on potential. I mean, you look at Matt Grimes, Exeter sold him on, and I think Swansea bought him for 3.6 million from a League Two club. And that signing, along with a few others that they've been able to make, like the likes of Tom Nichols, Ethan Ampadu.
Watkins.
Sorry?
Ollie Watkins, the Aston Villa striker.
Yeah. Who's the other one up front? Oh, I can't think of his bloody name now. Quite tall, blondish guy. I can't think of his bloody name. His name is pretty much on the tip of my tongue. I just can't spit it out. There's another striker who they sold. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that they've been able to sell players on for good fees, and and basically they've been able to fund all different areas of their club on the back of it, and they've been able to put forward a competitive budget, and they've got themselves promoted now into League One with a nice ground. They've really upgraded their ground, which is massively better than it was.
The Exeter model is what we should be aiming for.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The way they work their youth into the team and sell them on for massive potential and keep them sustainable is something County can achieve, but we've just got to have some trust in the youth. And I feel like that was always a downfall with Flinney. He never put trust in the youth. There was the occasional player he would trust, but it was never... You never felt he was 100% confident in him. But I feel like Rowbury is different in a way. We saw him bring on Harrison Bright for a fair few minutes at the back end of the season. So he clearly trusts youth, and I'm excited to see how these players come from the academy into this development squad we've got, and then up into the first team.
Yeah, of course, and that's the thing. I mean, if someone's good enough, they're old enough, and it looks as though they'll be given opportunities. I mean, I'd still like to know what went on with Livermore. You keep hearing different rumours, but then any of these rumours that I mentioned on the county chat are being quashed by his father. I mean, apparently he had a bad attitude, didn't train right. I've heard that he liked going out on the drink and stuff like that, and the club didn't like it. He'd get himself in trouble and stuff like that, ate drinking. But, I'm not making any accusations. I'm merely passing on the rumours that I'm picking up from people. And the thing is, if they are true, then maybe, the club's hands were tied. I mean, I don't know where he is now.
Oh. James Rowbury wouldn't have got rid of him for no reason. There's a valid reason he's been let go. I don't think Rotary was refusing to play him or anything like that. I don't know what's gone on. Like you, I can only comment on rumours that get circulated about, but whatever's happening to the lad or whatever happened, best of luck to him because he's got potential.
Yeah, good luck to him. So it brings us on to, obviously we've only got one out of, usually we bring in about 4 or 5, maybe 6 on loan every year. I think 5 would be a sort of ample amount of players. If you're bringing in loan players, you're looking to develop them for their parent club, but at the same time, you're looking to play them. And I believe, is it 5 loan players? You can't have more than 5 loan players in a match day squad.
5 in a match day squad.
So in a way, we've still got 4 loan spaces left, and we've obviously mentioned. So the first thing we'll mention is the departure of Courtney Baker Richardson. It doesn't come with much. What's the word?
Surprise.
Disappointment. Even though we had a great partnership with Dom Telford, Dom Telford was the one who got the goals. Baker Richardson chipped in with the odd goal, a couple of worldies, but he wasn't consistent enough for us to really think,
no,
we need to do everything we can to keep him. We would have given him a fair offer. The chances are Crewe offered him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think what's come down to as well is he signed at Crewe on a 2-year deal. I can imagine if we gave him 1 year or maybe 2 years and less money, but I think what you've got to remember with Baker Richardson is his season was bookended by injuries. He missed the first 3-4 months of the season with a groin injury, and then he missed the last month of the season with a calf injury. So if you've only got a player who's going to play, say, 6 months of the season, and no matter how good they are, you're not really going to fork out all the cash for it.
No. I mean, it's a good point you make about the injuries because he had such a solid block of games. And I think people forgot the fact that at the beginning and at the end of the season, he did have 2 significant injuries. Yeah. So injury proneness is possibly a factor of why we're not overly disappointed to be losing him. And at the end of the day, he did miss some sitters in quite a lot of games. Games that, like, for example, the sitter we missed at Walsall, which could have given us another 2 points. I mean, there was a number of other ones. I've seen him in games where he's completely fluffed opportunities, and good luck to him. He had a good season for us, not a particularly great season for us. So yeah, good luck to him. He seemed like a decent guy as well. So we got 2 outstanding contract offers that we're still waiting to hear about the conclusion of. We'll go for the one that we're going to be talking about the less, which is the offer of a coaching role for Kevin Ellison. The only thing holding that up is a lot like when me and him spoke. But when me and him spoke in my 1-to-1 with him, I was thinking, so what's next for Kevin Ellison then? Are you looking at going into coaching? He said, actually, I want to carry on playing. I thought, oh, fucking hell, fair play to you. Do you think that's his frame of mind now? Is he holding out for a playing contract somewhere and not a coaching contract?
You're never really sure. Obviously, we know the type of character Kev is. He's going to want to play until the day he dies, probably. It will probably be 100 years' time. But no, I know he's been doing some coaching behind the scenes with our youth players. I don't know too much about what he wants, or if he is going to stay here, if he's going to move back up north towards Liverpool. One thing I do want to bring about is Aaron Wildig signing yesterday. Obviously, he's got that relationship with Kev from Morecambe. And then Kevin Ellison did make a comment. Great signing and what a guy. The Xmas party will be entertaining. Now, to me, that sounds like he's staying. If he's mentioning Christmas parties and having Aaron Wildig around the club, I feel like he's going to stay in some capacity.
Right, yeah, because is that tweet signalling that he'll be a part of that Christmas party?
Yeah.
Or is he just stating that the Newport County Christmas party will be entertaining? But, there is definitely a bit of a hidden message there. So hopefully I'd like to see him stay around because he has a positive effect on everybody around the club, obviously.
Yeah.
So that's Kevin Ellison. Then the obvious one then that we're still waiting to hear about is Dom Telford. I'd like to think we've offered him a competitive deal, but my feeling is that he's either going to take more money going down, or his personal ambition would be to play in League One again. I think if I was him, to have the season that he had last season for us, when he's tried and failed in League One, I think he's going to try his luck again in League One. But the thing that comes to mind to me is, do you remember Christian Jolly?
Yeah.
Christian Jolly for Wimbledon and for us was phenomenal in the conference, but the moment he made that jump one level up, he couldn't replicate what he could do. And after he couldn't really do it for us, he went to like Grimsby and Forest Green, back into the conference, and never really regained his form. So the thing is, Telford's got to think. I mean, if he's an ambitious player and he believes in his ability, he's going to want to have another crack at League One, like Jolly wanted a crack at League Two again. So
the thing with football is you can always move down, but it's very rarely you can move up. If he's ambitious, and he's still young in relative terms, I think he's 26, 27. If he wants to go to League One, this is a chance. If he wants to go to, say, Wrexham and make a few bob, he can always do that in a year or two time. Because the worst case scenario is he goes up to League One, gets 5 goals, and then he's marquee signing for a National League club. He's a very smart player. I will give Don Telford that. The way I see this unfolding is he's going to be. I can't remember the year, but Mickey Dimitriou, when he left it until the final week of the summer, and then he ended signing back for us, extended the contract. I feel he's going to wait it out, see what offers he gets, and then he'll decide closer to the deadline. I think the most prevalent rumour is that he signed for Port Vale, which is an interesting one. I know he was at Wembley in their end. If he goes to Port Vale, probably a good move for him, but wherever he goes, he's going to do well.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. He's a lovely guy as well, Dom. I'd love for him to stay with us. I can imagine him and Zimba could work well together, and there's others who could potentially work well with him as well. You know, other signings to make. Yeah, I mean, there's possibilities there. You know, if he stays with us, you know, he had a successful season with us last season. He's still only 24, 25. So we still got plenty of time. But if League comes calling, if he's got any ambition at all, he's got to answer that call, basically, I think. And that's where I think he'll end up. So it brings us now on to, you know, there's more business to be done. I think there's another 3 or 4 permanent signings to make, and then another 4 loan signings potentially to make. I think it's great that we're getting business done early. There's 5 signings over the line to go with who we've got already. So keeper for me is sorted. There's a lot of talk of Chris Gunter. I mean, we got Cameron Norman, but Cameron Norman can double back as a centre back as well.
Yeah,
Chris Gunter would be another full-back option. Aaron Lewis would be there for the left. But the thing I don't like about that is that he's a right footer on the left. If we've only got one right footer who can play left back, I don't know whether Norman can play left back. I don't know whether Gunter can play left back.
Yeah,
I think he has played left back in his career before.
I think that's the one area we're lacking in at the most is full back. We've only got Lewis and Cameron Norman. One point you could float about is Lewis Twamley. He has played at left back before moving up to a more advanced left winger. Maybe some of the qualities Lewis Twamley has can work in a James Rowbury team. Obviously, we know Aaron Lewis and Cameron Norman like to get up the pitch and they like to cross the ball then. So maybe Lewis Twamley can be worked about a bit to become this attacking left wing back. But I think it's definitely an area we've got to focus.
But the problem for me, if he's going to be a wing back, he's going to need to do a fair bit of defending, and for me, he may be a bit too small fry to do anything. Don't think he'll get bullied, and will be exposed on that left hand side. So I think you'd be looking at playing in more of a forward role, a pacey forward. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think, as you say, full back is whether we sign a left back and Lewis is then the floater between the left and the right, or there's a lot of talk of Gunter coming back to Newport, which is where he's originally from. He's from St. Julian's, so I could imagine he'd want to come here. So let's wait and see what happens in that position. I think if you're looking in midfield, it depends whether he's going with the back three, with the wing backs, the three in midfield, and the two up top.
Yeah.
Dolan would then be primed to be the central centre back, like your centre back, quarterback type position, like he played under Fliddy, like he played at the end of the season for Robury, where I thought we were an improvement on previous games when he reverted back to that formation. Then what do we have in midfield then? We have Wilmot, we have Bennett. Obviously we got Bowen and Wildig now.
Yeah.
Whether Evans plays as the Finazaz position, because for me, losing Finazaz, I mean, it's not losing him if he wasn't our player in the first place. We had him on loan for a season. His loan ended. He had to go back. It's not a matter of he's left us or anything like that.
Oh.
He's gone back to his parent club. His quality is there to be seen, and his quality would win us games with individual brilliance. But he was very much what I call like a fancy player where League Two is concerned, like a luxury.
Yeah.
Now, I don't see many clubs going up with luxury players like that.
No.
Cheltenham won the league with him, but I don't think he was as effective for Cheltenham as he was for us the season after.
Oh, yeah. He played a lot more games for us than he did Cheltenham.
Yeah. Ollie Cooper, I'd like to see him come back.
Yeah.
If the option is there, although because of how good he was for us, I think you're probably looking at League One as a more realistic destination for him. I know Swansea want to bring him on. They're going to be playing him in a higher division next year. Yeah. So for me, there's an obvious position that needs strengthening, and that's striker and fullback, as we've mentioned. And we're still a bit light midfield. I mean, we've got Bennett and Wilmot, of course. Dolan could be used as a midfielder. I don't know if I'm missing anybody there now. I don't think.
We have got James Waite.
James Waite, of course.
I think we've got going for us this season is versatility. You look at examples, Cam Norman, he can play right back, he can play centre back. Matty Dolan can play centre back, can play CDM. Most of the youth midfielders, Bowen and Wildig, can play CDM or attacking mids. Will Evans, he can play attacking mid, he can play striker, he can play left wing. We've got a lot of fluidity and the ability to play 2 or 3 formations and be comfortable in it. It makes us a much better side because the criticism that we've had for the last 3-4 seasons is, we're predictable. Teams know what we're going to do. If you've got 11 players who can all play 2 positions each, no one knows what lineup they're going to do, what formation, what tactics. We can keep teams guessing constantly, and it's going to be a massive advantage for us.
So maybe Robury has figured out what everybody else has figured out, because that's the thing. Managers tend to stick to their principles irrespective of what's being said about their tactics.
Yeah.
So maybe Robury is taking note. Maybe Robury is adapting to League Two, because a lot of people have said that he's tried to play a brand of football that maybe isn't quite right for League Two. Because League Two players are always going to get bullied by other League Two players if they try playing too much football.
Yeah.
But I think League Two is getting more and more technical as we go. Last season, previous to last season, I didn't see that many teams in League Two that overly impressed me. Whereas I'd say 15 teams in League Two last season at a minimum impressed me. I mean, well, you look at the teams that finished below us who were good: Leyton Orient, Harrogate, Crawley. They were all very good. Bradford. Well, I thought Bradford were excellent in the 2 games they played against us. I mean, I know Sutton were like the anomaly, finishing in the higher positions, because I thought they were crap the 2 games they played against us, and they'll probably be crap next year. They'd have been riding a bit of a wave, coming up the way they did. No one expected them to get promoted the way they did. They did get promoted, and I'd expect them to be looking at the other end of the table next season. I don't think they'll be a top end threat.
No.
But with us now, we're certainly making the right signings in the right areas. And as you say, there's going to be people not being able to predict easily what we're going to do in a game.
No.
So I think it's a great point that you make there. So
we've got a very competitive League Two season on paper. I said to you at over Rodney Parade, the League Two season we've just had has been the most competitive League Two season there has ever been.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the quality of the teams who have come down: Crewe, Doncaster, Wimbledon. There's one in there.
Yeah, there was one more, wasn't there? And that was, fuck's sake,
Google.
on Google. There's always the one that you can't think of, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to remember it before you Google it, but I can't. I had so much hope of Morecambe being the ones that come down, but I still want to leapfrog the bastards next season again.
You still got all the images. Gillingham. There we go.
Now, I'm quite surprised. I was really surprised with Gillingham, because Gillingham was just like, do you know when you take a dump in your toilet and you leave a big skidder on there, and doesn't matter how many times you flush the fucker, that skid always stays there. Well, that's how I've always seen Gillingham in League One. I mean, not so big that they have a guaranteed right to be that high, but not so. But then obviously not so small that they shouldn't be in contention for League One. But it was just one of those teams that you just think they're never ever going to progress in League One. So, like I said,
they're the League One equivalent of what Mansfield are in League Two, where they're always just floating about. Sometimes they're in the playoffs, sometimes they're in the bottom half. They're always there.
Yeah,
they're just floating about,
and they're still there now.
Gillingham, Doncaster, Gillingham, Doncaster, Wimbledon, and Crewe coming down. We've got Grimsby and Stockport coming up.
Yeah,
no doubt Grimsby. They've got a front with Ryan Taylor and Tristan Abrahams. Like
a decent rookie as well. He's a good striker.
Yeah, and David Long King, another ex-County player who's there. I can't see him holding on to John McAtee. He's been absolutely unreal.
To be honest, I don't see anybody picking him up unless League One come calling, because what's the point on, because Grimsby are a big club, and capable of progressing well in League Two. I don't know why they fell away and got relegated the way they did, but they come back on the first time of asking. And personally, I think that they could potentially have a good season. So I think McAtee will see that. If League Two teams come knocking for him, unless they're going to pay him crap load more money, I don't see the point of him going there.
It feels like a Salford type of signing. You can just picture him going to Salford, but where he goes. Stockport as well. They're being touted as the dark horses, rightfully so. They've got a fucking monstrous budget. They've got decent players. They're a good size. I can see them doing quite well, but it's hard to predict who's going to be up there, challenging for the title in the playoffs, and who's going to be in the relegation zone. It's a very interesting League Two we've got.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious favourites for me would be the likes of, Doncaster, or they're going to put Salford up there because they're going to spend more money. Mansfield, again, will be up there amongst the favourites. Bradford, of course, will be amongst the favourites, I think. Tranmere will probably be amongst the favourites. Northampton, again, will probably be amongst them because of the signings that we're making. So, it could be an interesting season. I mean, Gillingham will probably... Gillingham, for me, would be very similar to Shrewsbury. I think they'll come down, but then they'll have a good chance of bouncing back up because you have to cut too much away. Like the bigger clubs with the bigger players, when they tend to come down from League One, they have to trim away their best players because they're all earning too much money for them to afford to keep them. So, and then they generally don't tend to make a good job of replacing them, because I always call it the League One to non-league trapdoor, League Two, when you come down. Sometimes you can fall right through and end up in non-league, like a lot of clubs have done. Like Notts County have ended up falling through, like Tranmere did, like Cheltenham did, because Cheltenham fell through from League One, and then went down. Bristol Rovers are another one, Hartlepool.
Yeah.
There's plenty of clubs that have fallen from League One, Chesterfield as well, even, fallen from League One, and not straight down, but eventually down to the conference.
Yeah.
So I think, if we're looking at a club, Gillingham for me wouldn't have such a big League One budget that they wouldn't be able to keep hold of the spine of their team. I know they come relegated, but they were in a stronger league, so I could see them having a decent season. As Crewe should be okay. I think Doncaster would be okay. Say Gillingham, Wimbledon might be in trouble of that. Potentially, nice new stadium and everything like that. A proper people club, community club. I wouldn't want that to happen to them.
No.
But you never know in football. You never know.
Yeah.
But anyway, mate, I think we should look at wrapping this one up. So a big shout out, obviously, to the Wales squad for getting us into our first World Cup, 1958. Of course, I've come wearing my Euro 2016 top,
and I don't fit in mine anymore. So that's it. I think that's covered.
Bloody hell! I mean, what was it? I've been talking to quite a lot of people about this, and obviously, people who've been watching this channel for long enough know that I also like Liverpool as well. And someone said to me that if 2 months ago, if you could have taken one of the three, Wales getting World Cup, Liverpool winning the quadruple, or Newport County getting promoted, which one would you take? And I've told them that I would have taken the Wales World Cup qualification because next season Liverpool could win more trophies. They're good enough to win more trophies. They can go after the ball again next year. Newport County, we can go after promotion again next year.
Yeah.
If Wales didn't qualify for that World Cup, 4 more years we'd have to wait. And it would mean Bale and Ramsey would miss out on playing in a World Cup as well.
Yeah.
For me, why Wales qualifying for the World Cup was so important.
It's going to be absolutely unreal. And what's excellent for us is the League Two season isn't stopping. So we've got County and Wales in a World Cup simultaneously. So it's going to be a very interesting winter.
Yeah.
The only one downside to it is obviously it's in Qatar, and the time zone. The America game is 7 p.m. The England game is 7 p.m. But that one kickoff against Iran is 10 a.m. in the morning. So it's going to be an interesting one. But
the thing is, the good thing about a 10 a.m. kickoff is most workplaces would give you the time off to watch it, or at least watch it in work.
Yeah.
Or with me in the job that I do, I'd be watching it with my laptop open and my phone on.
Yeah.
So I can still take, calls and emails and things like that,
Yeah, it's going to be great. But like 64 years since the last one. Will we make another one? Who knows? But I feel we just enjoy it for what it is and the journey we're going to go on.
It's going to be a hell of a ride, isn't it? But then the thing is, I mean, even if we don't qualify from the groups, I'd like to think we can, because USA are a good football nation. As much as people take the piss, they've still got a bloody good team, and they always compete in World Cups. They always generally tend to get out of the groups. So I wouldn't take USA lightly. England, obviously, there's going to be a grudge match there, like there was in the Euros in 2016. Iran are the team that if we don't beat them, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
we've got to see that as a must win. Iran. We got the players to pinch a point against England, and then we've got to target beating USA. We got to make sure we beat Iran, and we got to target the win, even if it means sacrificing the England game, kind of like we did in the Euros. We didn't sacrifice the England game; we went for it, but we lost 2-1. But because we won the other two and England didn't win the others, it meant we finished above them in the group, and they still went through. But we topped that with a loss. We could potentially do the same again.
I think if we can beat Iran and America, then we're good as qualified.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what happens in that England game.
Yeah, of course. And the only thing is, we could beat America and Iran and lose to England, but then if they all beat Iran and beat each other and we all finish on 6 points, it's going to come down to goal difference, then, isn't it? But I'm not going to put nightmare scenarios in our heads right now. The fact is, qualified for World Cup, whatever happens. I know we'll give it our all. I know we won't be embarrassed by anybody. And I think we have in a group we could potentially get through from. And the World Cup itself, I'm telling you now, is going to be won by a European nation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no nation in South America at this particular moment I think are going to be strong enough.
No chance. I'm going to take out a small shout out to Nick Townsend.
Hey, good shout, mate.
Absolutely bizarre news story, this. Came out last week. He tweeted, absolutely delighted to make my international debut for Antigua and Barbuda. He's played 2 games, 2 clean sheets. He's playing again Friday against Cuba. That has to be one of the craziest and weirdest moments in Newport County history. But congratulations to the lad.
But it's great for him, though. He qualified for their nation. It's not like he's ever going to play for England. So, he gets to play international football. But the fact is, playing international football is going to give him a new experience, which will make him a better goalkeeper for us. So, it's brilliant news all round on that part.
He's played absolutely brilliantly as well. I've seen some highlight reels on Twitter. He's playing amazingly for him. So, if it's keeping him fit whilst County are away, then happy days.
Say it's two games, 2 clean sheets for him. That's at international level. So it's
great. Excellent for him. Well done, Nick. Keep it up.
Yeah, I echo that when I second it 100%. Well done, Nick. So I think that's all we got time for tonight. So those who watched, thank you very much for getting this far. We haven't put you to sleep or made you switch off just yet. So cheers. But as we said at the beginning of the video, if you have made it this far, please feel free to make some suggestions on the sort of things you'd like to see us talk about in the next vidcast. So, Ollie, thank you very much. Kian, if you're watching this back, thank you for your quick 10 minutes at the beginning and bearing out and being a complete failure to technology, even though me and Ollie are older than you, and you should be all over these apps if you're younger. I just reckon we bored him and he couldn't be bothered. It was his chat as well, and it just went. I reckon he cancelled the chat just to get out. I think he's I think he's a slacker.
Yeah. It was just us three as well. Where's everyone else? Phil's watching England. John's still hungover.
Oh, are England losing yet? Do you want to check before we stop the recording? Let's see.
Oh, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Of course it would. Absolutely. Let's have a gander.
Have a gander. 1-0 to Germany in the 61st minute.
There we go. I usually like all the home nations, and to be honest with you, in the World Cup, if England do progress further than us, I'm sorry to say, I would rather them do well than anybody else. But the banter is brilliant. I absolutely love the banter. I support every home nation. The Irish, Northern and Republic, and Scotland. I'll always want them to do well. Then England, Reason being is Newport County within the English league. You know, we've had English managers in the past, even though the last two have been Welsh, of course. But you know, plenty of English players, legends who are English. You know, I just can't find it in my heart to want their country badly. You know, it's just one of them things. But each to their own, I suppose. You know, I'm not going to knock anybody for not wanting England to win, of course. But as long as you don't knock me for wanting them, well, there we go. Anyway, Ollie, thanks very much for your time, mate. And again, thanks for all watching. We'll be cheerio for now. And as always, up the county.